Hello and welcome to the Top Man Wrestling podcast. Today we're covering our Survivor Series predictions. This show, I have to admit, going into after Raw particularly, I was so hyped for this show until Becky got injured. We'll get into that, I'm sure, at some point. But yeah, let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with Mustafa Ali versus the champion Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship. This will probably end up on the pre-show, even though 205 Live is probably my favourite WWE show at this point. It's between that and NXT, but I've been really enjoying all the work that all the Cruiserweight wrestlers have done. This also is a bit of a toss-up because Buddy Murphy, he's not going to get as long a reign as Cedric did. Cedric was the linchpin of that division and probably will continue to be, but Buddy Murphy, I don't think he's defended the title yet either. His first defence, he won the title in Melbourne. I think it might have just been because it was in Melbourne. I also think he's been doing good work. Mustafa Ali, everybody likes Mustafa Ali. He puts his heart on the line. He puts his body on the line. He's had a couple of championship matches. I think this will be maybe his second or his third. He had a match against Cedric at Mania. I can't see him picking up the title here. I think this will be an extended feud. Maybe Tony Nese will get involved after 10-15 minutes or so. But yeah, I think Buddy goes over. This will continue. Mustafa Ali picks up the title at the Rumble maybe, and then we'll go back into Cedric Ali for the title at WrestleMania. The rematch. I think that's the right thing to do here. So let's go for Buddy Murphy. Wow. Okay, this match. I don't know what to think about this match. The tag team Survivor tag team match, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the tag division. Team Raw is probably the weakest tag team we've ever seen. There's not a single team on there that's not a joke. I mean, the Lucha House Party, I love the Lucha House Party. They do some great work, but nobody knows who they are. The Revival, despite being one of the greatest teams on the planet, they get treated like dirt. Rude and Gable, what is that? That's not a pairing. And the Ascension, no one can take respect. No one takes the Ascension seriously. They barely win. The B Team, they haven't done anything since they lost those titles. And SmackDown have two of the greatest tag teams of all time. Maybe three if you could put the Club in that. Gallows and Anderson, the Japan version of the pair at least. The Usos and the New Day, the best tag teams on the planet. I think you could have those 5 teams on Raw against just the Usos and the New Day, and you wouldn't be surprised if SmackDown won. So I'm going to go for a SmackDown win here. I think that the Colognes will probably get pinned by... It's probably going to be Rude and Gable. And I feel like Gallows might... I feel like Cole Anderson might also eat a shatter machine. So they might lose 2, but I think apart from that, it should be a fairly easy victory for SmackDown. Putting SmackDown 1-0 up. Overall, I'm looking for a pen. Where is a pen? Doesn't matter, here it is. So, SmackDown, Raw. SmackDown gets 1. I think AOP, the Authors of Pain, the Raw Tag Team Champions against The Bar with The Big Show, obviously. I think this match, I think AOP winning this match is perfect. This would do so much for the Authors of Pain, beating an established tag team, a dominant tag team like Sheamus and Cesaro. It does nothing for them if they were to win this match, except bury the Raw tag division even harder. Especially after what I predict will happen with the tag division Survivor Series match. It's such a long-winded title, but I think the AOP go over. I don't know, maybe clean. I think they would go over clean, make them dominant, make them look good, do them a world of good, and there's no benefit here in Cesaro and Sheamus winning. So AOP 1-1 going into the Women's Survivor Series match. Again, this Team Raw is poor. you've got everybody on that team is glorified jobber, really. Mickie James, unfortunately, despite being one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time, despite having some of the greatest rivalries of all time, she's come back. She hasn't done anything. She's lost all of her title matches. She's been good, but she can't seem to pick up the wins where they count. Nia Jax, it seems I would think that Nia Jax would get punished for destroying the main event of a Big Four pay-per-view, the most anticipated match I think of this year, with Becky and Ronda. Obviously concussing Becky and I think breaking her nose at her orbital bone or something like that. I can't see how she would do well in this match. Tamina, again, she's been built like a powerhouse, but she's not as good a powerhouse as Nia Jax. She's not that great. She's never really had much momentum. She's always injured, and she's just a glorified robber. Natalia's she's good. Everybody knows she's one of the best wrestlers going. She just doesn't get that respect, and I don't think anybody takes her seriously, despite the fact she had a title reign this year, wasn't it? It was this year. Was it this year or last? I can't remember, but she's had a title reign fairly recently. The SmackDown title, it was last year. It was last SummerSlam she won the title. But yeah, she hasn't done too much. And then Ruby Riott, who I think everybody wants Ruby to succeed. She's great in the ring. She's great on the mic. Heel Ruby doesn't work, although you can tell she's making it. She's trying her best. I think if they booked the Riott Squad a little bit stronger, if they didn't lose every time they went up in a 3-on-3 match, despite the fact that the Riott Squad are the established group, and they've lost how many times now to Sasha, Bayley, and Natalya. But I think they're giving Ruby Riott maybe a little bit of a push, potentially going into a thing for the Raw title, the Raw Women's title, but I don't see that. And then Team SmackDown, it's just stronger. You've got 30 former champions in there. You got two former champions in there, Carmella and Naomi. Carmella has, unfortunately, ever since she lost the title, she's just kind of slid back down the card. She's doing this comedy gimmick with R-Truth, which it's entertaining, but Carmella is one of the most improved wrestlers we've seen this year. I think ever since the Rumble, she's really stepped it up. She's been impressive. Her promos are great, but so I think she'll have a good performance here. Naomi is probably the most athletic person in the WWE. I think we've had countless people say that she's good. Sonya Deville's is kind of untested, unproven, really, on the big stage. This is her pay-per-view debut. It might be, at least on the main card, it's her pay-per-view debut. I'm fairly sure. And Asuka, I feel this match is Asuka's to lose. They have to book her strong here. So if Becky's forced to relinquish the title, I think it's a when, she has to give up that title. Asuka picks it up, will go into Asuka Becky whenever Becky returns, or Becky will win the Rumble and go Rousey, whatever. But I think Asuka has to win that title, and therefore Asuka has to look strong coming out of this. If she was to eliminate 3 of the Raw team, that would put her in good stead. And this 5th member of Team SmackDown, I would hope that they're going to do something special here, bring someone big back. And I've seen people go, it's Nikki Bella, because Nikki Bella was at a house show was it in Spain? I think it was Spain. So maybe she's getting prepped for this spot. Maybe Mandy Rose. I've also seen reports that it'll be Paige, even though she's flatly she's straight up denied these claims on Twitter. I think she said that she's one bump off being paralysed. I don't think that she'll be the one in this match. But no matter who it is, I'm gonna say that the replacement is going to be Mandy Rose, and SmackDown go over. I think this is SmackDown's year, so I think it's fair to say SmackDown will win that match. The men's match. Now it makes all of the sense in the world for Team Raw to win. All of this stuff with Braun, giving the title matches, whatever, it just makes sense. The Miz's team, the Miz's SmackDown team it's got some big names, and two of Raw's names are basically a joke at this point. Finn Balor, everyone loves Finn Balor, but he gets booked poorly. Bobby Lashley gets booked poorly, fairly poorly. And at the same time, I think the best stories here come out with Raw winning. You get Braun, you get Drew, you get Dolph, gets them kind of into something. I would have to say that Raw wins this match, putting them on even footing going into the last 3 matches. Seth Rollins v Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm really looking forward to this match. Two of the greatest in-ring technicians of this generation. Shinsuke Nakamura, of course, one of the most legendary wrestlers to come out of Japan. He's the youngest IWGP champion of all time. Seth Rollins could put on one hell of a match. And it's a shame in a way that Shinsuke gets so underutilised on SmackDown, because you never see him. You never see him with a title. He does backstage interviews, he does pre-shows, he's barely ever on the show. It's disappointing. And Seth is built like he's the top star on Raw, which I think he is. He certainly gets treated as such. He's a big name. Everybody likes him. He's one of the most over guys on Raw. Having said that, though, I think Shinsuke Nakamura will win this match. I think they will. Shinsuke Nakamura will win this match because Dean Ambrose will get involved. I know I said this for the Crown Jewel predictions and he didn't, but I would think that Dean will get involved here, just so the US title didn't look even weaker, and so the IC title doesn't get knocked down a few pegs. Shinsuke goes over, knee to face. I think that's fair, really. Oh, Rousey v Charlotte. If this was Rousey v Becky, I would have this straight up as Becky, because it doesn't matter how much they want for Ronda, they can't risk they can't risk Ronda being booed to a similar degree as Roman Reigns was. And Becky is the most popular wrestler in WWE, maybe even in wrestling at this point. But she's out injured thanks to Nia Jax. I have no problem with Nia Jax, but I think it's a bit dodgy. Charlotte Flair's been put in. This, of course, is a dream match. I've read dozens of times that the plan was Rousey v Charlotte at WrestleMania. That has obviously changed because they're going to fight at Survivor Series. Maybe leading into Rousey v Becky at WrestleMania. If that's going to be the case, Rousey goes over. If Charlotte beats Rousey, it makes the Raw Women's title look weak. It makes Rousey look weak. Charlotte can take a loss here. It's not too much of a problem as long as you do something else to build Charlotte up afterwards. Maybe have her. I don't say have her beat Asuka again, but they need to do something else with Charlotte Flair, and it doesn't involve Ronda Rousey. So Ronda wins. What I think will be the main event, despite Rousey Charlotte being a huge match, Brock versus Daniel Bryan. Now, I think it was Total Bellas. I think it was it Total Bellas? Yeah, it was. Daniel Bryan was talking about how he developed a style specifically for wrestling Brock, and of course that could have just been crap because it's a scripted reality show, but it gave an insight into how much he wanted this match, and to finally see it, I think will be great. WWE champion versus Universal champion. Daniel Bryan is a WWE champion. He can't look weak after winning it just a few days ago. He'll have been champion for 5 days. He'll have been champion for 5 days going into Survivor Series. And Brock can take a loss here. Not a clean one, obviously. Say someone gets involved, a ref bump, Brock Lesnar gets kicked in the nuts, something like that. Bryan wins this match. He's got to. Bryan Danielson will win this match, because this isn't Daniel Bryan anymore. This is a lot more like Bryan Danielson like the American Dragon. I don't think it does SmackDown any favours if Brock were to lose this match. Yeah, Brock loses. He needs to get it somehow, maybe even by DQ, by count out, something like that. Have it be a mess of finish, maybe even have it be an overbooked mess. AJ gets involved, Braun gets involved, Drew gets involved, whoever you need to make Bryan look good and make Brock not look bad while Bryan wins. I'm also worried here about the suplexes, because Brock is not necessarily the most careful wrestler. We all know this. Brock is not the safest worker, and Daniel Bryan, but he's come out of retirement because of head and neck injuries. One bad suplex and he could be in a lot of trouble. So I would like to think that the story of this match, I was listening to the Going in Raw predictions for this show as well, and they said something similar, where if Bryan can avoid the suplexes, that can be turned into the story of this match, and that can be maybe why Bryan wins. And I think that's fair. So we're gonna recap now. Murphy over Ali. SmackDown over Raw in the tag team match. AOP over the Bar in the champion v champion tag match. SmackDown over Raw in the women's match. Raw over SmackDown in the men's match. Nakamura over Rollins in the mid-card title match, and Rousey over Flair in the women's match, and then SmackDown will take it 4-3 with Bryan beating Brock Lesnar, and I think that's gonna be the most interesting match of the night, because even if the complete opposite teams win to what I say for the Survivor Series matches, there's not too much online. I don't think people care too much. Bryan versus Brock will be the one people care. If Bryan wins, that crowd will go nuts. Twitter will go ablaze. Social media will love it. I think that would be the most interesting scenario. Of course, WWE don't necessarily specialise in interesting, but we'll see what happens. I will be doing my review to this show, maybe on Monday, maybe on Tuesday. It'll be released sometime around then. But stay on the channel, subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy Survivor Series. Thank you.